Well, Coach Hammer, I guess what I always do when I start these out is kind of have you detail all of your coaching jobs and when you began. You can throw years in if you like and all that, but just talk about all the sports you have coached and at levels and stuff.
All right. Well, I first started here in 1973, and when I was hired here, I was the head baseball coach, and I was the girls basketball coach, and I helped with girls track also. And then as the years went on, I became the athletic director and ended up coaching more sports, and was very fortunate to be able to coach my daughter and my son during their years in high school and so forth.
You mentioned the athletic director. When did you start? Do you remember that?
Probably about 78, 79, I suppose, and I was it for 25 years. So,
yeah. Jeremy Christensen, you mentioned he's took your job. So, can you talk a little bit about maybe how you did he just come in and take your job, or did you do a little mentoring?
I met him, and he came in and took over, and you can see what he has done in the last 11, 12 years, the facilities, how they've improved, how our athletics have come up. So with me retiring, it was great for the Fremont Mills to hire Jeremy, because I says he's done a wonderful job for this school system.
He definitely has. Let's talk about how you got into this. Tell me about your childhood in terms of interests and how you got led into the whole coaching and teaching situation.
Well, like I said, I was born and raised in Red Oak. Played basketball for Walt Stanton, played baseball for Walt Stanton. When I graduated from high school, I went clear to Scottsbluff, Nebraska to play basketball for 1 year. I found out that was not my sport, went back and graduated from Peru State and was a baseball player for 3 years down there as a starter. And Walt Stanton probably was one of the bigger things that got me into coaching. And I loved sports, and to this day I watch a lot of sports and so forth, and went down 2014 to the 6th game of the World Series in Kansas City and enjoyed that completely. And I just loved the game, and played many years for Stanton Vikings town team over.
Now, so you were at Game 6 when they rolled the Giants. I was actually in Tabor that night, a game volleyball match. We don't need to get into that. But anyway, so are you a Royals fan then?
Yes, I am. But my number one team is the New York Yankees, and everybody hates the Yankees. But I've always liked them from way back in 1956 when Don Larson pitched a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. I was home sick and went back to school and got accused of staying home so I could watch the Larson's no-hitter.
That's cool. So when the Royals and the Yankees had the little rivalry there running late 70s, how did that spin for you?
Oh, as a fan, you wanted the best team to win. And at that time, I think the Royals were just a little bit better than the Yankees, but I think the tradition of the Yankees carried over to the Royals and so forth.
Well, this is a road we could go down for a while here, but let's get back to the. You mentioned Walt Stanton was a big influence for you. Can you talk a little bit about him and what kind of what kind of coach and maybe instructor he was?
I had him as a business teacher in high school, and as a basketball coach, I think that he did me a lot of good. And in baseball, he just let me do my thing, and he was instrumental in getting me going in the right direction, along with some other coaches at Red Oak too. So I went on, and then, like I said, I started out with junior college and then went down to Peru, and ended up, I did not find a teaching job right away. Went to work for the state of Nebraska for 3 years. Met my wife at Farragut, ended up in Tabor, and it was a great location with her from Farragut and I'm from Red Oak. I mean, it was outstanding.
Great. When we were talking before this, you had mentioned you did a little student teaching or something like that under a very famous Farragut coach.
Yes. When I student taught at Farragut under Leon Plummer and tried to learn 6-on-6 basketball. And what I picked up from him helped me a lot when I did get into coaching here at Fremont Mills.
So you said your girls basketball coach at Fremont Mills? Tell me.
In 73, yes.
Okay, in 73. So tell me about how long you did that? You have much success in girls basketball, and maybe what you took from Coach Plummer, maybe took from other people.
Well, I enjoyed it. We had some very fine athletes, but we couldn't match up with a couple teams in the conference at that time because the corner conference was very tough. You had a Malvern that was very tough, and you had Farragut. I picked up some things from Leon, and then I was fortunate when I got married. My wife was from Farragut, and her uncle was Leon's assistant coach in the middle 70s and so forth, and I learned from that. And then, you couldn't find a better game to watch 6-on-6, and if you couldn't pick something up from it, you were in trouble.
Talking about Max Livingston, was her uncle?
Yes, it was Denise's uncle.
Okay. 6-on-6, I guess we'll get into this here a little bit, where Gail Hardigan is still, I think, a big proponent of 6-on-6, how it differentiated girls from boys. And so when you went to 5-on-5, then you just compared the girls to the boys, and that's not fair to either side. So do you wish 6-on-6 is still going?
At times I do, but I think it has made girls maybe better athletes because they had to learn to dribble and shoot the ball as well as guard. And going back to Gail, she was a tremendous 6-on-6 player. Yeah. And then when she I think when 6-on-6 was gone, I think that first year of 5-on-5, she won the state tournament.
Yeah, she did.
So, I mean, a tremendous coach.
A lot of tremendous coaches around this area that you've worked with, and I think during your stead at Fremont Mills was maybe kind of the glory years of the Corner Conference, just in terms of longevity for coaches yourself. You had Bob Weber there at Hamburg and Leon Plummer, and Dave Duran we had mentioned as well at Essex. So can you go through that and what it was like coaching in the 70s and the 80s there in the Corner Conference? Yeah,
in fact, you go a little bit farther east over to Stanton. Don Hicks and I locked horns for many, many years. Even as we were growing up, he'd come to Red Oak, and we'd play baseball against each other, football. And then going against Dave Gerard, you could never outguess him in baseball. And he's just a magnificent coach. And same way with Plummer and Bob Weber, track and football. They're just tremendous people. And I'm sure I'm leaving some people out.
Yeah. So it's going to happen, if there's a lot of years and a lot of people that you've come across. So sometimes you're not going to be able to name all of them. So on that topic, I'll ask you to maybe talk about some athletes that you coached that you remember pretty well that stood out to you.
Yeah. Well, I had 3 players that went into high school coaching that have taken their teams to the state tournament. Our team was never able to get there. Poor coaching. We've had some kids play Division III, NAIA, go into coaching and teaching and so forth and become very fine individuals. We've got some kids going to be playing that I had as students in coaching. Some are playing down at Northwest and some are out at University of Nebraska and so forth. So.
Right. So who are these 3 that went into coaching and went to the state tournament?
Kevin Whitehill, Scott Whitehill, and Tom Denville. In fact, Tom Denville beat me to go to state.
Oh, really?
Or a sub-state game, I guess it was.
Well, I know Kevin was a Shenandoah coach. Or you said Scott, and then who the other 2 coach?
Okay, Scott was at Mason City.
Okay.
And Tom was up at Trainer. Oh. And then Kevin also took a junior college team to the World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado.
All right. So you take a lot of credit for all that?
No.
The baseball coaching, I don't know when exactly you got out of it, but then you got back into it, and I was able to cover your teams then. So how did that? Can you talk about how that all come about? Where you were out of coaching and then you were right back in it again.
Well, when I got out and I retired, I stayed away for a while, and then the administration, they asked me to do some substitute teaching, and then they talked me into get back into coaching. So I said, okay, because baseball would be the sport that I'd coach, and coached it for 3 summers and enjoyed it. And then we had some young people on the staff that I was interested in it, and I thought, hey, this is a perfect time for me to step down and let somebody else have it.
So I was trying to think. Austin Switzer was one of your players, and you had did you coach Mackenzie at all? Mackenzie Lang?
Yeah, I coached Austin. I coached Mackenzie for his 8th grade freshman year, I believe, was all. I had the Phillips kid, had Clayton Wilson. Right. Like I said, I'm going to miss somebody's name and so on, but they were good kids, and they enjoyed the game of baseball, and that's what I enjoy doing and working with them and so forth.
So Fremont Mills was very good in different sports throughout your career. Now with Jeremy, he won a state championship in football, had a state runner-up. They've been really successful otherwise in many other sports. So maybe it was a little down before, right? Like a little before that, 5 or 6, 7 years before that or so. Maybe the facilities have come in, the weight room. Has the weight room been a big deal, been a big part of this success recently?
I believe it has. I think that if you go and look at their weight room, it's nice, and I think we have a tremendous turnout for it. And I think Mr. Ernster's done a nice job with the weight program here. For years, we did struggle in sports at different times. We weren't always at the top of every sport, and it's just like everything else. You got your peaks and your valleys, and we were in a valley for a few years.
Who are some guys and gals that you worked with during your career at Fremont Mills that were there for a while with you? Who'd you lean on?
Randy Botts he was my assistant coach my first 3 years, and then he went over to the boys, and then he became the principal later on. And Scott Kemp, who's been here for ages, probably at the turn of the century, but he's been very beneficial to me.
For you, I want to go back real quick to your playing career. What position did you play? What'd you play?
I was a catcher.
Okay. So, how are those knees?
Terrible.
Yeah.
They wanted to replace them about 15 years ago, and I said, no, we're not doing that. So I caught till I was 34, 35 years old, and played on a Stanstown team to 1979 or 80, I'm not sure, and played, I just enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, wonderful sport. My favorite sport, too. I guess you mentioned your family a little bit. You coached your son and your daughter, and you mentioned your wife. Can you talk about them a little bit? You mentioned your wife at Farragut. I guess that was while you were working under Leon? Yes,
that's where I met her, was down at Farragut. Her aunt arranged a date with us and so forth, and we hit it off, and then we ended up getting married, and we had 2 kids, and I've got 3 grandkids, and I got 2 granddaughters that play volleyball. One plays for Elite out of Omaha, and the other one plays for Nebraska 1 out of Lincoln, and we spent a lot of weekends going and watching them play.
And so where do they go to high school?
No. They're one's a 7th grader and one's an 8th grader.
Oh, I got you. Where do they live?
One, Matt's granddaughter lives in Gretna, and Mindy's daughter they live in Lincoln, and yeah.
Gotcha. So you put some miles on once in a while. Not too far though. It's not too far. It's a good story, so we got to tell it. Your last basketball game in your high school career. Tell us that one.
Well, when they were going through all the reminiscing of the Farragut gymnasium and so forth, my last high school basketball game in 1965 was played at Plummer Gymnasium, and we were defeated by Thomas Jefferson.
So it was a brand new gym then. Now it's closing down. What kind of you have any emotions about that?
Yeah, I mean it's for a school that size to have that type of a gymnasium, it's unbelievable. And they held a lot of tournament games there for a long time, and now it's going to be gone.
You mentioned tournament. Now, I was almost done here with you, but I got to ask you, the corner conference tournament, nothing's better than it, the basketball tournament. Do you have great memories from coaching in that?
Yeah, we were runner third place one year, and like I said, when I was coaching and so forth, we had to battle the Malverns and the Farragut's, and then Newmarket was pretty respectable back in those days also. So, yeah, I'd hate to see the corner conference tournament go. Yeah. But, like everything else, things change.
Coach, we appreciate you talking today, and best of luck to you in whatever you're doing.
Thanks, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be.